Hi there YouTube, Extreme Trains here. In this video we're taking a look at another green engine and the entry into the 2022 Thomas Wooden Railway reboot line. This one here is one which I've seen causing some controversy. Some people love her, some people hate her. Probably that's giving it away. It is the new for 2022 Emily, who's in my hands. I'm quite excited to look at this one because partly because there's some controversy about the design, but also I think because Emily, as I talked about in the push along video, has a very unique design compared to a lot of the other engines in the franchise, and so I'm always really curious to see how she's represented in different forms of media. So that's why part of the reason I'm quite excited to see what she looks like in N scale, but also part of the reason I'm excited to review in this video. Let's take a look. Okay, so let's have a quick look at Emily's packaging. Again, very similar packaging to other engines in the line. She does have that little pull tab on the back. Perforation here, probably going to have that little marketing insert. Yeah, alright, that's all we need to talk about on this one. Let's get her open. Okay, Thomas Wooden Railway 2022 Emily is out of the packaging. Let's separate her out and do a quick spin before we talk about her design. So first thing I want to talk about is the face. Yep, I think this is a pretty good CGI Emily face. Again, the resolution up close on her is not great. Like you can quite see there's quite a lot of graininess in the printing on the eyes. And also on the buffers too. I think they're meant to be rivet details in there, if you can just see them, but it's all a bit blurry. So I'm not sure what's happened there, whether the things weren't aligned or just not a very high quality print. I don't know, but I think broadly, again, a good face. Why did she just get a natural smiling face versus Gordon or Henry getting surprised or worried faces? Who knows? I'd love to know what the formula was in determining those things. Now, detailing wise, I think she looks quite good. Love the detailing on board. Love that, is it a little bit inaccurate that they've pushed this further to the back maybe than it otherwise would be proportionally? Yes, I don't know how out of proportion it really is, to be honest. But how good is it that this actually lines up with the big wheel, and this is actually like cut up. Like you can see here, there's actually a proper hollow void space underneath. That's really actually quite impressive. They haven't really done that before, and I'm really, really happy to see that they have. So I'm quite happy with that design element. Coming to the top, you can see we've got the printing along here. We've got the safety valve domey thing here as well. Firebox glow, yep, nothing on the back as per standard. Now we can talk about the elephant in the room. It's the squared off boiler situation. I don't know why they did this. This to me really doesn't make any sense. There must have been a reason for it because they can do round ones like they did on Henry and Gordon and James, who are, you know, like James is a smaller, has less space, and they still managed to make it work. So there must have been a reason why they did this square bit. I just don't know what it was. I don't think it hurts her model too much. It's definitely a bit of a once you see it, you can't unsee it thing, but I think from a lot of angles, it doesn't really bother me, especially because obviously as much as these are meant to be realistic, they are still obviously like, you know, toys, they're approximations. I don't think this is a key feature. I think it's much more important that they get this wheel situation done correctly than it is that they get this right. So, you know, I'm actually kind of okay with that. In terms of coming down to the wheels, she's got another unique wheel arrangement. So we've got two of the small wheels at the front, one of the big wheels in the middle, and then a small wheel. Again, this is interesting that all the large engines have this big wheel. So it is a little bit... Oh no, hang on, no, they don't have this big wheel. This is actually bigger. Never mind. I was going to say, it's disappointing she hasn't got her own bigger wheel. She does. It is not noticeably bigger until you do them side by side, but you can see right there, this wheel is actually larger. I was going to say, I thought it was the same size as Nia's wheels, but if we come and have a look, no, it is bigger. Cool. Okay, that's good. I'm glad to say that it does have, we're all going on journey of discovery together. She does have a bigger wheel. That's good. I like the unique printing we've got along here. Again, I think the front two bogies look a little bit funny because of how high up they are. But I think it's, again, like it's when you look at it from the side on, that's when it looks really odd. But from most other angles, it's not too bad. So I think overall, this design of the Emily is quite nice. And I actually am a pretty big fan of it versus some of the previous Epits efforts that have been done in all merchandising lines. Then we come to our tender. Again, nice to get the 12, but again, like this 12 looks quite serious. It looks like kind of Gordon's 12. It doesn't look kind of the cartoony one they did for Henry, so I don't understand what's going on here. Printing looks really, really nice. Disappointed there's not a bit more detail on top here for the water filler cap and that kind of thing, but obviously good that we've got the coal. Same comments I've had this whole time with the printing about the 3 wheels thing. I think it looks really good when they do them this way. I think she's got a slightly different wheel design as well compared to the other engines, if I just take a look. Yeah, the printing is slightly different, which is nice to see. Nice to see that the low effort things like new prints are being done. And again, I think this is another one where it doesn't look too bad that it's quite high up. So I think if you put her all together, this is a pretty nice looking Emily, and I'm pretty happy with it. In terms of how she scales with Thomas, I think this is quite a good scale. Again, obviously the height situation is a bit unfortunate, like of how tall Thomas is compared to Emily, but that's just a function of these kind of lines. I think overall sizing is not too bad. And if you bring her up to another green big express engine, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. She does a good job of being that kind of in the middle size, kind of like James. I think it's probably the final and relevant comparison to make here as well. Let's just put this here. You can get an idea of what they look like together. I think quite nice. Yeah, that's all I've really got to say about this Emily. In terms of a value perspective, I bought this one from Amazon US for 40 Australian dollars. I don't know why Henry was cheaper. Yeah, she was more expensive. I think she was about, $41, but the price seems to fluctuate literally every day. As you'll find out in the Edward review, Edward was like $60 one day, and then he was $45 the next day, which is when I bought him, so I don't understand. Yeah, we'll talk about the value question in more detail if these ever launch in Australia. Is this a $41 toy? No. Would I recommend a parent buying this for $41 if they weren't a reviewer on YouTube? No. But I think for assuming the price is going to be right for these and what I think they're retailing for in the US, seems like pretty good value. I think this is definitely much better than James. James, I think, is still my least favorite of all the engines that they've done. And I think even though there is some weirdness going on here, I think the rest of the design is so good that it doesn't take away too much from the model. But Emily is not my favorite character. I'm not a huge Emily person. If you are, you might have different thoughts. I'd love to hear them down in the comments below. As always, that's all we've got time for. Thanks very much for watching. It's Extreme Trains.